All right, hello everyone. This is my first guide that I've ever made, so bear with me a little bit. I'm gonna try and make it short and sweet. There are a few things that I want to preface about this build first. This is hardcore focused, so if you're coming from softcore and you're like, hey, you could do like 4 times as much damage as this, you're right. But you'd probably be walking around with about 800 hit points. So I'm just gonna get into the gear right away. This is the new Mist Runeword. I wanted to try it because it has the 100% piercing attack on it, which I think is pretty cool because you don't have to wear a razor tail and you don't have to invest any points into pierce on your tree, which allows you to dump it elsewhere. Um, I like to go with the diamond bow. Uh, this is kind of personal preference. Like you could use one of the other bows. I just like the damage range on this one because it gives you more consistent DPS every time you hit, so you're not throwing out any like 400 damage arrows. Um, this bow is really nice because it gives you vitality and all res, which is great for hardcore. Um, this build is a little bit expensive. Pretty much all Bowazons are. However, I think that this version of the Bowazon, and you can tweak it in a bunch of different ways, is like a lot cheaper than your typical Bowazon because you don't necessarily have to have like a faith on your merc or anything like that. So, anyways, that's the bow. In the hat area, um, this is actually the second one of these I've made. My first one died because I got a really bad Lord Desai spawn when I was like drunk or tired or something like that and got immediately deleted. So I'm trying something a little bit different this time. The Shaco is kind of nice because, I mean, it's a Shaco. It's just a great hat. I have the 15% increased attack speed jewel in there just to hit the 9 frame breakpoint on this one. You can also use a Vampire's Gaze. That's actually what I was using on my first character because it has dual leech on it and damage reduction up to 20%, which is really nice. This, Shaco only has 10%, but a big thing about Bowazons is like you don't want to get hit. I mean, just like all hardcore characters, but this just kind of gives you, some health and some mana, just in case like something does happen, like you get blasted. Fortitude on the chest. I mean, it's kind of hard not to use this. 300% ED is like really nice. All res, blah blah blah. I have mine in a dust shroud. My first character, I had it in an Archon plate. You actually do have enough strength in this build at 106 to wear the Archon plate version. So, yeah, go ahead and use that if you want. The gloves, laying of hands, 350. This is like primarily Chaos Sanctuary focused, so like some of the shit in there is demons, and it's kind of nice to have that fire res, extra damage. You could also do, depending on your setup, your hat and your rings. If you go with Vampire's Gaze, then you don't have to have a dual leech ring. You could wear like you could wear 2 Raven Frosts or whatever for the extra dex and attack rating, which is really nice. And then for the gloves, you could do, I don't know, like crafted ones with IAS or just rare ones, crafted ones with like crushing blow or whatever. But you definitely want 20% increased attack speed on your gloves. Uh, Rings, like I said, Raven Frost, and then just a rare ring. I think the best thing that you could probably get is like min or max damage, attack rating, leech, and some res, some health, like basically whatever you can find. Um, I went with Verdungos this time. I think the first character that I made, I used a string of ears, which is also viable. It's nice because it has leech on it. So then, like, you could use a cheaper ring with like just mana leech, or if you got mana leech on your gloves, I like Verdungos because it's like faster hit recovery and vitality, which is great, and of course more DR. On the boots, there's a couple of options here. I think one of the main drawbacks of this character, as you'll see when I go to do like the Chaos Sanctuary run, the single target on this is not great. Like, it just got this character going again yesterday, so like I don't have like super Gucci GG stuff, but it is like viable. War Travelers has the flat damage on it, which is fantastic. It's really, really good. You can go with Gore Riders though for a little bit more deadly strike. Um, We actually don't quite max critical strike on this build, but we get up to the 71% percent chance. And yeah, having more deadly strike is always nice. And then on the amulet, I went with the cat's eye. Um, there is definitely an argument for using High Lords here. I like the 30% faster run walk. On my first character, I actually did use High Lords. It is a noticeable difference. I think between if you put a High Lords on, I think you'll be at about an 85% crit chance according to D2 Planner. The cat's eye is nice though. It gives you a little more defense, which isn't like it's honestly kind of negligible. 20% increased attack speed, which allows us once again to hit the 9 frame breakpoint, and then the faster run walk. You can definitely use High Lords. You'll be moving a little bit slower, but you'll be hitting a lot harder. Well, not a lot harder, but like noticeably harder. Yeah, so that's about it on like your main gear. Charms, obviously a torch, an Annie, a Geeds, just for some MF. Um, I chose to go for the 32% faster hit recovery breakpoint. Once again, you don't want to get hit, but if you do, I think this puts you at 7 frames or 8 frames. I can't recall correctly right now, but like if you get hit, you should easily be able to walk away from it. If you get hit multiple times, you might be able to, escape a little bit. Other than that, faster run walk, max damage and attack rating, you know, depending on how many high runes you want to put into the build, like you could make yourself really Gucci. I think like if you got like all max damage, attack rating, faster run walk, GCs, High Lords is definitely the way to go. Eventually, if I do pump more money into this, I probably would switch to a High Lords just so I can still move quickly. Otherwise, just life resistances, just to get capped in hardcore is really nice. So I'm rocking about 118% magic find on this. Damage reduction by 25%. Really, like, this isn't going to be a super tanky build, but, like, my expectation is just, like, if I do get caught by something, like, extra fast or whatever, like, I want to be able to absorb that 1 or 2 hits so I can chug a potion quick and not lose my character. Another thing too on the hat, like if you really wanted to freaking dump some money into this, you could go with a 30% faster run walk, 3 OS magic like Tiara or Diadem, and put 15 IAS, 40% damage jewels in there. If you get 3 of those, you will be at the 8 frame uh, attack speed breakpoint, and like you'll be doing like a hell of a lot more damage, like roughly 20% more when I checked it in D2 Planner, 17% more. For stats, enough to get gear. Really, like the highest thing is for Dungos. If you're wearing a mage plate, I think you need 103 strength. This requires 106. So if you put a string of ears here instead, and you are using a dust shroud, you can actually save probably 10-15 points here, dumping it into dexterity. For dexterity, basically this is like your dump stat. Like once you get to like a comfortable place with your life, I aim for about 1400 because I have CTA on the swap over here and just a lidless wall. You can also put a splendor over here, which gives you +1 skills. You're basically just looking to like buff your battle orders like a little bit more. So after I cast battle orders, I have about 1900 hit points, which makes me feel pretty comfortable. And then, like I said, dexterity is your dump stat. Like once you're comfortable with your health level, depending on your charms and all that stuff, every point you put into dexterity is one more percent additive damage, and I believe 5 attack rating. And right now with my charm setup, my attack rating isn't great. It's not great, but like I said, I haven't dumped a ton of money into this yet. As far as the merc goes, there's a few different options here. I'm really enjoying the new barbarian. Uh, in the latest patch, like they added this frenzy dude in here, and being able to wear two rune words is like pretty fucking awesome. And he's extremely tanky. I think he has about 3k hit points after my BO. Um, Plague is awesome. It gives you the cleansing aura. You are constantly getting cursed when you're in Chaos Sanctuary. At level 15 cleansing aura, the curses in there last about 5 seconds on me, 5-6 seconds somewhere in there. I think they might have different timers. Um, and then over here we got the Lawbringer, which gives you Sanctuary. So Sanctuary removes all physical resistances from undead enemies. Being that Chaos Sanctuary is all undead character or all undead enemies and all demons, like basically 2/3 of the shit that you're going to be hitting in there is going to have no physical or no physical resistances, which is great. It's really good. Like a lot of the undead shit that you come across dies in like 1 or 2 hits. Um, I think like you could do this differently. Like I didn't really expect him to do damage. I made these rune words for different characters. So like obviously an F mythical sword, an F mythical sword here, and making these rune words would be like better. But I don't think that like the barbarian, like his attack rating isn't super good. So I mean, you could spend a little bit more money. Like right now in hardcore, the F mythical sword bases are going for about a Vex a piece. But I just kind of wanted to get this going, and so I just made them in like some regular trash swords. I mean, they're elite or whatever, and he does do non-zero damage because the the Lawbringer also can cast Decrepify on striking, even at a 20% chance. I don't know if this is bugged or not, but I don't see it going off a whole lot. I expected it to be more like Reaper's Toll, where it's just constantly going off. But I think there might be some kind of bug where if he gets struck and lower resist goes off, I haven't seen the Decrepify override it. I don't know what's going on there. For a chest, I chose Gladiator's Bane. There's probably a million different things that you could do with this. The faster hit recovery is nice, and then also my concentration aura, like nothing is stopping him from hitting stuff. Um, and then also it has magical damage reduction on it, or MDR, and that really helps against the like the tick damage from Diablo's hose, and sorta against his firestorm. The Firestorm is pretty much the only thing that's going to kill this Merc. Like, they are extremely tanky, which is really nice. And then up here, I just have a Cura's Guardian, a little bit more FHR, and all resistance is 70, so I just don't have to worry about them. I haven't gotten around to leveling some alts to get 2 more sockets on this, but you could definitely put like 215 IAS jewels in here to make him hit a little faster and proc some more shit. Another thing that you can do with the Merc is on my first version, I was actually using a Might Merc from Act 2 using a Reaper's Toll. This increases your damage significantly, but it reduces your survivability. You're always going to be cursed if you use that Merc. Like constantly, you're always going to have a curse above your head. And like the big 2 down there, 3 are Decrepify, Amplify Damage, and Lower Resist. Lower Resist down there is nasty as hell. So I really like the Cleansing Aura on this. Yeah. You could also go a little bit more aggressive and use an Act 1 Merc. If you have a lot of money, you could put a Faith on an Act 1 Merc as well and get to the 8-frame attack speed breakpoint probably a little bit easier, but that takes a lot more cash. All right. I think that's about it for the gear. I'm going to go down to the skill tree. So you want to max Magic Arrow, and you want to max Guided Arrow. Guided Arrow synergizes with Multiple Shot, gives you 12% additive damage per level. Don't want to max Multi-Shot. You just want to get to 24 arrows. That's the cap. And any further points invested into that gives you nothing except for an increased mana cost. If you're not wearing a Shaco and if you don't have any other sources of added mana, like a few of my charms have some like mana on them or whatever, even with the mana leech, you are going to be constantly out of fucking mana. Like it's really annoying. Unless you're leeching from something. Yeah, so keep this just at 24 arrows. Magic arrow, that's going to be like your other skill that you're using all the time. If you come across like a demon with physical immunity, switch to magic arrow quick. This does a lot of fucking damage. Like it's really nice. And then I've been kind of going back and forth between guided arrow and magic arrow on bosses. As you'll see, I'm going to do a quick chaos run here in a bit. On the passive side, you want to get your critical strike up to 71%. I believe that's the cap. From some of the resources I've looked at online, even at level 25, it's still 71% chance. I don't know, maybe if you get up to 40, you can get to 72% chance. Probably not really worth it. Max out penetrate. This just gives you a bunch of attack rating, which you will be kind of hurting for if you don't have super Gucci charms. And then no points in Pierce, which is really nice. That's the great thing about Mist, is 100% Pierce chance. You don't have to wear a Razor Tail, and you don't have to put points into Pierce. So you get added survivability and a little bit more added survivability with dodge, evade, and avoid. And this is just basically, I'm only like level 87 right now. All my points after this are just going to be kind of going into these randomly. But yeah, you have like over 50% chance to dodge, avoid, and evade, which once again I wouldn't really rely on. Like you don't want to be going into the middle of packs or anything like that. All right, so with that said, I am going to do a quick run here. Just get some arrows. Oh, another thing I was going to mention about the arrows in the inventory, you can put more charms in here. I like having a backup set of arrows just in case I am like zoning out and I forget to pick some up as I'm running. Like Exhibit said, you don't want to be caught in the kitchen without the strap. So, just going to buff really quick. Like you see, I have like about 1925. Another thing about this build is if you go into other areas, like you're going to be doing like pretty decent damage. Like I made this like specifically for doing chaos. Animals, you're not going to be doing as much damage to anything with the animals tag, which isn't a huge deal because most of the animals in the game like are relatively non-threatening. And they don't have like a ton of hit points, like as far as I know, except for maybe like those weird like tree looking things. So yeah, this guy's got stone skin. Like just switch to magic arrow and like it does pretty decent damage. This part can be like, this is probably like walking up to chaos is probably the most annoying part because your merc doesn't really keep up with you. On the first instance of this character, I actually had a teleport staff on the swap just so I could get through here a little quicker. But obviously, like the added benefit of CTA is like kind of hard to pass up. I guess you could use a teleport necklace or something like that, or even an enigma, like if you've got, you know, some other way of like making up damage. So once we actually get into chaos, like it goes pretty smoothly actually. So as you can see, I just got amped there. It's going to be gone within, like I said, it's about 5 seconds. As you can see too, even at 500 mana, like you burn through mana like pretty fast on this build if you're not leeching. So that's why I like usually if there's like one mob left or whatever, like I usually switch to something like magic arrow or guided arrow just to like clean them up. But like there's not really anything in the game that you can't kill mob wise. Like there's no like resistance combo or anything like that you're gonna come across that like you can't kill. Um, oh, another thing I forgot to say about this build is that like at the beginning of the video anyways is that like yeah, like I understand that this isn't like the fastest build. It's not like the most efficient or whatever, but it is a pretty relaxed, like fun playstyle. Like I really like playing Bowazons, and if you're like me and you've been playing this game for, you know, 2 decades, uh, you can get kind of bored of playing like the meta characters like Bowazons and Paladins and Sorceresses because like, you know, we've all played like 10 million instances of those characters. So it's kind of fun to do something a little bit different. And like this is just like a it's just like a really satisfying play style, like especially if you come across like a big pack of undead that just have like and then like your barbarians in their face, like the sanctuary aura just fucking shreds them because like they have no physical immunity, which is great. So yeah, this is like, as you can see, I'm already down to 163 arrows from 500. So it's kind of why I like to have the backup one in there. I may have missed some arrows on the ground because I'm not like super paying attention. So I've been fucking yakking in your ear. So it's like the cold damage from the Merc and from Raven Frost kind of keeps a lot of this shit at bay, which is nice. Slows them down. That's another thing you can do too with your mercenary. Like I said earlier, like the Act 2 mercenary with mites. You can also do, you know, holy freeze if you want to be like a little bit safer. Okay, so now this is where my first character died. You want to be really careful on this layout of Lord Desai spawning. I like to turn on walk here so I have my full defense and click the seal from this side because sometimes he can spawn right here extra fast, and if you spawn right in the middle of that pack, you're gonna get obliterated. Like your character will be fucking wiped out. So like I said, I was kind of like snoozing when that happened. Usually I'm a little bit more careful, but yeah. So he had stone skin. Probably would have been better to use magic arrow on him, but it's like not that big of a deal. So this is where laying of hands really shines. It's a lot of extra damage. It's kind of nice. Like that Merc just, you know, spawns right in the middle of them and like doesn't even. I mean, he took some damage there, but it's not like he gets obliterated. And it's like if you're like me and you played a lot of the mods over the years, like Path of Diablo and Project Diablo 2, like there's ways to make your mercenary like way tankier. So it's kind of jarring going back to vanilla and like so you just kind of want to position yourself. And like I was saying, so like here's where the build isn't great. Like unless my Merc actually gets like a Decrepify proc on Diablo there, it's kind of slow. I mean, as you can see, that's not like that took like 2 minutes or anything, but it was kind of slow. Um, if you do the Gore Riders setup, like Gore Riders and crafted gloves with crushing blow, you know, you can get a 25% proc on crushing blow. Ranged characters only do a 16th of damage. So, I mean, 16th is pretty good, down to 50% in hell. Uh, so yeah, you definitely can go that route if you want to wipe Diablo out a lot faster. Yeah, so that's about it. Thanks for tuning in. I stream most day or pretty much every day of the week during the week anyways. Weekends can be a little janky at twitch Twitch TV/Nico.com. Yeah, so come by and listen to some chill tunes and shoot the shit with me if you want. I hope you like the guide. Thanks.